see the way they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us slaves. I can feel the sunlight shining.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name's Brian, and today is Monday, March 4th, 2024, and this is episode 646 of the Lots Project podcast, and it's titled Never Lose Your Mustard. And I'll be chatting about some new paracord projects we're working on, wild edibles around here, weekend work, and more. Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. So let's check in with the coffee crew in the chat, see who's hanging out, grab a cup of coffee, and hang out for about an hour. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How we doing? Hunter, how we doing? Why is it hot already? It didn't get very cool overnight here either. I think it was supposed to get down to 60 overnight, so that's definitely a little on the high side for sleeping temperature. But good morning, Rewilder Life. How are you doing? Pip asked if we all made a mustard holster. I suppose you'll just have to wait and find out. Jim, good morning. Good morning. I hope you're doing well. Hope everything is well down there in Florida. Jen G, thanks for swinging in again. Canadian Farmstead's on the road, but joining us anyway. Don't laugh so hard you drive off the road, please. Hunter over on Twitch holding down the fort over there like usual. And wondering why it is hot already. And Wired Edge, thanks for swinging in this morning. Appreciate it. Man, it was a good weekend. Good weekend. I'm tired. I am pretty tired. Hanging laundry, swinging in. Good morning, and Backwoods Butcher. Gonna talk a little bit about Backwoods Butcher here in a few minutes, but first let's see what's in the cup. In the cup, I got I have a I guess it would be another hidden bag, a small extra a small extra bag. I guess it was an extra bag of FTO Blonde Espresso. Excuse me. It wasn't a normal pound bag. I think it was a halvesy pound, just extra halvesy pound that got sent out one time, and it fell down below my fell down below the rack I keep my pounds of coffee stacked up on. And so I found that, and I had some of the Tanzanian Peaberry Light left. So that's in a nice blend this morning. It is yummy. It is definitely yummy. So I'll have to roll with that. Pip's saying that they had a small tsunami in Central Florida yesterday afternoon. Other than that, it's peachy. Tsunami. Is that like the big wave after an earthquake, or is that because a typhoon is the Pacific hurricane, right? And a tsunami is the resulting wave from an earthquake, I believe. Pip says it's rain. It's rain. Is that what a tsunami is? I don't know my tropical weather terms at all. Hanging Laundry's wondering if I drink my coffee black. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely drink my coffee black. I don't add anything. A long time ago when I was drinking the red can, I used to put cinnamon and nutmeg in the grounds before I brewed it, and it made it pretty tolerable. And then before I was drinking Food Forest Farms, I would try to have some of the hazelnut coffee at the local gas station, but that was just the black flavored coffee. But yes, I drink coffee black. Backwoods Butcher says, I like my coffee like I like my men, hot and spicy. Jim says it was crazy. It just gotten back from Orlando and it stormed. Okay, so a tsunami is a storm now. What's the big wave that comes after the earthquake? Jim says I like my men light and Peruvian. That's a light Colombian asshole. His name's Hector. Wilderland's rolling her coffee with heavy whipping cream and a raw egg. Yeah, okay. Backwoods is saying, oh my god, Backwoods coming in with the intelligence. Backwoods says monsoon is what they mean. Tsunami is the wave. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I wasn't wrong. The two that live in Florida that got hit by it are like, it's a tsunami. It's a tsunami. Oh, God. This is happening already. This is definitely happening already. Gen G says there's blizzard conditions the entire weekend there. Tons of snow. Might lose power. So if I drop out, that would be why. Fingers crossed. Don't you have a generator? There are important things to be watched on. There are important things. Hey, Jim, is that something that you lost in your memory bank? Wiredhead says this is much more entertaining than going into work early. I mean, I think if I just sat here breathing heavy, sipping on my coffee, it would be more entertaining than going into work early. Jeez. Anyway, let's roll it off. The thumbnail and title today has well, Jen, if you have a generator, it should be rolling so you don't miss out on the last 42 minutes of the show. The thumbnail and the title today was "Never Lose Your Mustard." If you haven't been around for too long, there may or may not be a connection with mustard, yellow mustard specifically with me and the show. It is one of my favorite condiments. Good morning, Jim. Over. Whoa. Is Albie down, guys? Interesting. Jim over on Noster tried to zap. Says I couldn't zap me. I'll have to look into that after. Sorry about the Norman earthquake. But the thumbnail had a picture of one of our new products that we spun together this weekend for paracord small items just to have on our table at SRF. Any other live events we go to, we'll be able to have them. And then after we take them to SRF, we'll get them up on the website and Etsy. But we're putting together a bunch of different things. We have keychains. We have Corey's going to put together. I think they might actually be for her. I haven't found out if they're going to be for her or for sale. But grocery bag holders. We had an idea with a couple of the carabiners that we're just going to do a strap in the middle with two carabiners on the end. You can hook your grocery bags to it and carry it like big handle. What else do we have? Some bracelets, keychains, assorted stuff like that. And then yesterday I was looking to see what I could do with some scrap, some smaller pieces that weren't complete items. We had some leftover, not the best carabiners, not the best. Oh God, Kyle. Not the best quality carabiners. They definitely have imprinted on them, do not use these for climbing. But they were serviceable to an extent. So I was popping around on some of the different YouTube channels I'm using to explore different paracord projects and knots and things like that. And I found these water bottle holders. And I'm a multi things need to have multi purposes. As a minimalist, you need to have multiple purposes for things. What I saw them used for is a water bottle holder. Basically, it's a carabiner with a little knot work and then a loop with another knot on it that slides up and down. Here, let me see if I can pull this picture up real quick. Why won't you? There we go. So I have this. If you're watching the live stream, there's a picture of it. It's got a carabiner, some knot work, and then this big loop. And if you can see the other color paracord here, this is just a knot that slides up and down and cinches this loop bigger and smaller. And so as a minimalist, you do need multiple personalities, Chris, for sure. Good morning, Pickle Pete. How we doing? So this is something that the person that put the post up, he would use it for a water bottle, like a Nalgene bottle. We made the loop big enough that you could get over that little ridge on the Nalgene bottle and cinch it up and then hang it off your backpack because they don't have handles. You use the little handle that holds the lid on an Nalgene bottle and it'll eventually break. So you can use this. You can attach it to your bag. But Corey and I realized that it has a much greater purpose in never losing your mustard. You can cinch this around the top of French's yellow mustard bottle and have that on your hip wherever you go, whatever barbecue you go to, whatever cookout or restaurant that you may go to that you might be worried that they don't have yellow mustard. You can bring it on your hip and be sure it's secure. So if you want to get one, make sure you get to SRF and be able to grab one live. Otherwise, if you don't get one live, they may be sold out, and it might be a while before we can get them together. We are expecting 6 to 8 weeks shipping, just like SOE. So if you want to order one, don't worry about it. It'll show up eventually. Just order it, and we'll let you know when it's on its way. Backwoods Butcher says, is it for executing mice? It can be. You can use it to hang mice. That's for sure. Not quite big enough to hang midgets. Not quite big enough to hang midgets at all. But definitely a solid mustard holder. You could probably use it for ketchup if ketchup is your preferred condiment of choice. Oh man, Jen, don't start getting soft on me, Jen. Don't start getting soft on me already. You've only been here for a week. Jim brought up the fact that you're not supposed to tell anybody tell me how old you are because I'll use it against you. That's just because you're old and senile, Jim, and we need to make sure everybody knows so when they see your stuff in the comments, they know that it's age related. And Jen is getting soft on me and saying that that it's all in good fun. No, he's actually old, and we need to make sure that that he remembers that, because when you get old, you forget things. Rewilder Life says goes well with the Chief Yellowface t-shirt. Chief Yellowface t-shirt. Yes. Hanging Lobster says bringing mustard into an eating establishment could result in arrest. I don't know. I think maybe hot sauce too. Hot sauce. People have the hot sauce holster on their belt. This could be a different way to a different way to carry your mustard with you, or hot sauce, or ketchup, or relish, or other condiments. So EDC, everyday condiment. You got it, Kyle. You're seeing what's happening. Chris Dixon's seeing a multiple platform ban coming. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Jen says the food is a mere carrier vehicle for condiments. I agree. I agree. So Chris Dixon mentioned we might see multiple platform bans coming. This is hard. This was disappointing. So last night, I think it was last night. Well, let's go back to Friday. Friday, Kyle, the Backwoods Butcher, Jim says salad is a blue cheese delivery system. No, blue cheese is not a condiment. Ranch dressing, not a condiment. The government's conspiracy to get you to eat that stuff is all that's going on. Rewilder Life says X might be your new platform. Wild West with Elon, the dictator over there. No. It won't be X. If anything, it's going to be Noster. But anyway, Friday, Kyle, the backwoods butcher, all Mr. TikTok over there, Mr. Thirst Trap TikTok butcher boy, been having all these fantastic live streams where he's up to, couple grand, couple thousand people watching him at one time. He's doing his thing over there. I'm helping him in the comments, getting him to say different things, actually helping, moderating a little bit. He sends me a message out on Friday, and he's like, "Hey man, you want to do that? You want to do that conspiracy TikTok live on conspiracy TikTok live Friday night? We'll hang out for a while. We'll talk about whatever comes up. We'll take questions. We'll talk conspiracies." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, we can do that for sure. What time?" He's like, "Oh, how about 8 Eastern, 7 Central?" I'm like, "Perfect." I said, "Hey, Corey, you mind if I go on with Kyle tonight for an hour or so? We got anything planned?" Because I checked with my wife because I'm not stupid. And I'm like, "Hey, we got anything planned? Because I'll go on live with Kyle." She has no problem with me going on, but if we have plans, she wants to do what she had planned, and I get that. She's like, "Yeah, but you know the deal. If Kyle wants you to go on live, he needs to send me animal pictures," which is something that we had worked out a long time ago. That if Kyle can buy my time with pictures of fuzzy little animals and things for Corey. I mean, it's a fair trade. I think. And so we get it all set up. We start announcing it. I announced it in my Telegram group. Kyle announced it in his Telegram group. I think Kyle did a TikTok about it. And all of a sudden, at like, I don't know, 4 o'clock, I'd have to go back in my messages with him. But I don't know, it was like 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. He's like, "Dude, I can't do the live tonight." I'm like, "Well, why? You asked to do it. You sent the pictures already. What's the deal?" "Well, it's my wife's only night off until Monday night, so I'm gonna." Oh, it was around 5 your time, 4 my time. Yeah, right. So I'm gonna have to stay home and hang out with her. And Mike's Homestead wondering if she saw the baby bunnies at Ping's yet. She discovered the baby. I'm going to talk about that in a little while. She discovered the baby bunnies at Ping's house. So Kyle's like, "No, I got to hang out with my wife tonight because it's her only night off till Monday." And I'm like, "Well, wow, that's kind of messed up. Now we got to go cancel it. Got to go find everybody that was going to show up and tell them it's not going to happen." And then I started thinking, she must have had work canceled, right? Like she wasn't scheduled already for Friday night, and Kyle didn't just go ahead and schedule something when his wife was going to be off. And then all of a sudden, when he told her, she's like, "But honey, I'm off tonight." She must have got called off. Like she was scheduled to work, and they called and said, "Hey, you don't have to work tonight." And Kyle's like, "Oh, an extra night with my wife." That's what I'm hoping happened. But I have a feeling that she was probably already off on Friday night, and Kyle just double booked because he didn't check his damn schedule. So Friday night got canceled. And I was upset. And so we go through the weekend, and Kyle said, "Well, I might be able to do it Sunday. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. This guy, he set me up one time before. So I let him go. I didn't let him know I was going to do it on Sunday. And then he starts he starts poking the bear on Sunday, and he's like, "Hey, I think I'm going to do a live tonight." I'm like, "Oh yeah, about what?" "Oh, you're going to do that on TikTok?" And eventually we got around to agreeing that we're going to do a TikTok live on Sunday night. Now, I need to say that I've been on TikTok live this would have been the fourth time, I think. When I was doing my my gravestone TikTok account, I went live a couple times when I had service at some of the cemeteries I went to a couple times. That was about the only experience I had with it. I did go live for a test live once they turned it on for me, because I don't even have 1,000 subscribers or followers or whatever they are on TikTok. Like, that's the minimum threshold for being able to go live. But I only have like 880, and they turned it on. So I went on and made sure it worked when they did that, when I got the notification. But other than that, I haven't really done anything with it. That is probably a good thing. Probably a good thing in hindsight. But Kyle's like, yeah, let's do it tonight. So we announced it. I agreed to it. Come 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Western. Pip says, does this mean I need to download this TikTok app? I wouldn't. So comes 8 o'clock, or just before 8 Central, 8 Eastern, getting ready rolling up to the TikTok time. And I send Kyle a message. So what do I need to do? Because we're going to do like a dual live, I guess, a joint live, where one of us join the other one. I don't know how it really works. So I said, what do I need to do? And and he's like, oh, just go live and I'll invite you to mine. So here I am. I go live. I'm sitting at my desk, and like, there is nothing there's nothing going on. Like, I'm just sitting here waiting for Kyle. All of a sudden I get an invite from him. So join him. We're split screen. We're bullshitting. We started talking. I was like, dude, what do you want to talk about? He's like, I don't know, anything. I just put Q&A. Let's talk. We can talk about conspiracies if you want. We can talk about whatever. I'm like, all right, well, what do you want to talk about? I gave him the wide open door. I was like, dude, what do you want to talk about? Let's talk about whatever you want. I don't really want to talk about the farmers in Europe, because basically here's the story. Farmers in Europe are protesting. And Kyle's excited about it, even though they don't post the damn videos in English. He gets excited when he sees tractors. He's like a 4-year-old. So I'm like, okay, we'll talk about the farmers in Europe for about 3 minutes, and then we'll move on. So I let Kyle get it out of his system. He had wet pants when he was done. And I said, all right, so let's talk about something other than the farmers in Europe. Let's talk about the eclipse and the giants. Like, we're here to talk conspiracies, dude. We're here to talk not farmers and tractors. So I say, Jim says, who doesn't like tractors? Right, I get it. But, you know. Jen, don't do it. Join Noster instead. So we start talking about the eclipse. I wanted to tie together the eclipse conspiracy theories that both revolve around the giants and the earthquakes, and a few other things, some weather manipulation, some fog theory, some things like that. We're going to roll into that. And so dude, what is more relevant to a farmer than an eclipse and giants coming to your farm and earthquakes? Like, I don't understand. You're like, we need to talk about something that's relevant to real life. something that can affect me. And I'm like, oh, like the farmer protests in Europe? How about giants and earthquakes and eclipses in the United States? That is more relevant to you than farmers. Hunter says they've already issued states of emergency for the eclipse, which is weird. I know. This is why I wanted to talk about it. So we started talking about the Giants. And then we talked about, I said, so what would you do, Kyle? This is a simple question. And I think it was a legitimate question. I think TikTok's bullshit. And I asked a legitimate question about what Kyle would do if a giant showed up at his house. And Kyle said he'd shoot it. And then he said, what size giant? And so we started going through different size giants. Like, so I said like an 8-foot giant. He's like, oh, 8 foot isn't that tall. I said like a 10-foot giant. He's like, oh, I get a little nervous. I'd stance up and I'd have my pistol drawn. And Corey from the other room chimes in and says, you know, a 10-foot giant compared to a 6.5-foot guy is just like a midget compared to a 6.5-foot guy. So like if you walked up to a midget, you expect him to stance up and like draw a gun on you. And like all of a sudden, my TikTok screen is lighting up with violation, hate speech. And I'm like, what the fuck? All I'm doing is talking about midgets. Did you know the word midget is hate speech? Maybe giant, not sure. Kyle's talking about guns and shooting people. And all of a sudden, everything went black. We made it 20 minutes on TikTok Live before I got a 3-day ban. 20 fucking minutes. And I was banned for 3 days. All I talked about was giants and midgets. Jim says he hates when midgets draw down on him. Yeah, dude. I understand. Kyle says we said midget about 27 times. Midget is not a hate crime. Chris Dixon says maybe we should have danced and took our shirts off. I think so. Hunter says Corey got us banned. Corey did get us banned. Kyle also got banned for 3 days. Did you appeal your ban, Kyle? I appealed my ban. I have not heard back on my appeal yet. But it says big things all over my thing that I participate in hate speech and all sorts of that. I after the live, Corey says, you know, the funny part is you love midgets. You're married to a midget. Like, I want to be able to go to TikTok and present my case because I am married to a midget. I am a giant married to a midget. I'm 6'5" and my wife is 5'2". So I don't know why they think my talk about midgets is hate speech. I have nothing but love for midgets and their sausage fingers. Love them. I pick them up and hug them. Put them right back down on their feet. Kyle talked about throwing them against a wall with Velcro. That might have been a little bit of hate speech. And he also talked about shooting giants. Yeah. Norman earthquake. Nope, that was Walter. Chris Dixon's enjoying a 7-day X ban again. Fuck you, Elon. Rewilder Life says I should roll up on X because it's the Wild Wild West. I'm going to Noster. Guys, and we might go audio only. Because, like, legit, I might sit here in my underwear with a tutu on my head, and incense going, and tie-dyed, like, flashy glow lights, and do our conspiracy theory. And I don't want that on camera. No one wants to look at that. We'll probably roll over to Noster Ness and do audio only, where no one can censor us and no one can shut us down. Hey, Noster, how you doing over there? Looks like I got to get my zapper fixed. Definitely got to get my zapper fixed. Gen G says hate speech. What a term anyway. Free speech is supposed to reign. Give me a break. Yeah, TikTok Chinese sons of bitches. Pickle Pete says, how do you get banned? Oh, you just go live and you talk about midgets, I guess. Oh, yeah. So I'm looking into Noster Ness. I'm looking into Zap.stream, possibly doing a video live stream over there in the evenings. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It'll definitely be after dark. Might be in the middle of the afternoon, but definitely on the adult side. No topics will be off limits. Fuck TikTok. We'll probably do a segment on the show called "Fuck, we can't say this on TikTok." I don't know. I'm really contemplating, because my TikTok doesn't do jack shit at all. I'm really contemplating, once my ban is over, going back on and seeing how quickly I can get shut down again. Like, can I beat 20 minutes? Does the AI even pick up what you're talking about within 20 minutes? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I have some ideas of some things that I could do that would probably flip the switch right away, but Hunter says, was it AI or was it Karen? I don't know. It didn't really say. Um, the new George Carlin bit about 7 words you can't say on TV is going to be the you can't say this on TikTok. Yeah. If I could get something like that laid down and clipped and published, and I could make as much as Carlin made off the 7 words you can't see on TV, I'll go live on TikTok every fucking day. I'll make a new TikTok every morning just so I can go live just to say the words to get shut down. I'll do it. I don't know, guys. It's an eye opener. Back when I started this channel, not this channel, like when we shifted to this, when we were leaving the farm and this was kind of going to be about our life, more than just homesteading, I was worried what to do about dog content, about all the benign things, and what I could say and what I couldn't. And at one point, Corey was like, just be you. And it is what it is. It is what it is. At that time, we were making very, very, very little off YouTube. And at this point, we're making very little off YouTube. So we're up like 2 varies on the little scale. So it really isn't going to be a huge financial loss. It is a lot of time and effort I put into the YouTube channel. But at this point, it's like, meh, stopped really worrying about it. And it's been a while. YouTube is pretty lenient on things. They nick you to where you get limited advertising on things, which is fine, but they're not like kicking me off. They're not banning me yet, which is nice. But this TikTok thing really opened my eyes again to the fact that, like, let's try to find some place that they can't do this shit. So I'm definitely diving into sensor free, sensor resistant, sensor proof outlets. Rewilder Light says, "Am I leaving YouTube? Not unless they kick me off. And I will, as I transition, guys, I'm transitioning. That'll go on TikTok just fine, right? Like if I talk about transitioning, or maybe my 4-year-old that thinks they need to transition, I can talk about that on TikTok, right? But I can't talk about midgets, which basically kids or midgets, they're like little humans, right? I don't know. No, I'm not leaving YouTube yet. But as I develop, Jim says it's lonely on Nostr and Twitch. I come to YouTube for the chat. Yeah, Twitch is no different, dude. Twitch is I've watched two people build huge followings on Twitch with morning style shows to both get canceled there. I think Nostr is where it is. It's just a matter of shifting people that are there solely to talk about Bitcoin to really dive in and talk about whatever. Corey, Hunter says we should document the transition of one of the dogs on TikTok. We could have tranny dogs. It would be yours for sure. Oh, so yeah, it was disappointing. 20 minutes on TikTok live. It was just a taste. It was just a taste, and it was gone. It was like they gave me a bump. They gave me a bump in the back room of the bar, and then they're like, "Yeah, no more for you. No more for you." Oh, so let's talk about the rest of the weekend. That was my fun with Kyle. Let's see. Friday on my list here. Friday, Saturday. We went out and we worked at Delinquent Scully. If you don't know what Delinquent Scully is, it's property that Toolman Tim owns down here in Tennessee that we are doing some work on for him. We're putting some campsites in. We're putting some perennial revenue streams in there. We have comfrey started on the property. We have elderberries now started on the property. Some spiral willows. Lots of natural fauna and flora. And we're kind of working with the land, really keeping it as much nature and wildlife focus as we can. We're not like tearing bulldozers and equipment through it and knocking everything down. We're really doing hand work as much as possible. And it's working. It's working well. We have been the last 2 weekends. I guess this was the second weekend in a row. Bully. It's the second weekend in a row that we went out. Last weekend, not this past week, the weekend prior, Corey and I extended a trail that we had started on during the workday. Mike's homestead and some other people worked on a trail down to a campsite. And we had decided to take that trail and Y it off and go to the top of the property. We cleared a bunch of that stuff wide, like probably 6-ish feet wide, right down to the ground, and made it about 3/4 of the way up to the back of the property. When we went out the other day, we decided we wanted to go from the bottom of the property all the way on the far end. Like Tim bought 2 properties and then he added on another one. So he's got 3 in a row. They're kind of like 2 of them are pretty symmetrical, top to bottom, 5 acre, and then the last one is kind of like a pie. And it's the end of the easement road. And so we started on the first 2 parcels that he had originally purchased, and then he purchased the third one after the planning had started. So we went down to the third one, and we wanted to be able to get from the bottom by the easement road all the way to the top of the property. It's pretty steep. It's pretty steep, like a pie. Yeah, Jim, like a pie, like a wedge, a piece of a pie. If you cut your pie like that. Some people don't cut pie like that. So we were going to start at the bottom. It's pretty steep. There's a lot of ridges and gullies and valleys, and it kind of runs diagonally across the property. So to get from the front to the back, you either have to follow one up or you have to go up and down. And a lot of it's deadfall. It's old, selectively logged property, so it's really grown in. Tons of deadfall everywhere. They really just slashed and left everything they didn't want in order to access what they did. And you can see these huge stumps cut off at the ground of the trees that they took out of there, but they just left everything else. And now it's kind of an overgrown brambles and briars and berries and thorns. And I last Monday's show was nature's razor wire. And that's what it is. And it's thick shit to get through. So we took to it down on the one end, and it was pretty light. A lot of it was hillside. A lot of it was not super grown in. And we were able to actually make it from the front of the property all the way to the back of the property with not as quite as wide a trail as we did on the other side. This was more of a walking trail than a hiking public access. This was more of a moving things around, exploring trail. But we definitely, at least a person, 2 people wide, hacked our way all the way from the bottom to the top and then back down. So that was exciting. We can walk now from the front to the back. We are going to next weekend hopefully get out and extend the trail we were working on prior to get to the top there and then connect them. So then we'll basically have a U or a circle if you use the easement road, and you can just do laps. And that will be cool. That will be cool. Access is always cool. And when you're not using heavy equipment to do it and not damaging things like crazy, that's really nice too. So that was exciting. Corey and I always enjoy going out there, getting some exercise, being outside. It was a gorgeous day. Cooler than it was on Sunday, but cloudy, sunny, off and on, just about enough to get you to take your sweatshirt off. But if you stop moving, you got a little chilly. No, it wasn't bad. It was a good day of work. We got a ton done. After that, we stopped over at Jamie Off-Grid Ping. Do you find any of that multiflora rose down there? Carrie Brown has been doing some consulting out there with a lot of the stuff that is growing. I am not that versed on Tennessee flora. I could tell you a lot of stuff in Minnesota, and I was very lacking in Minnesota even. That was something that I was working on, was tree and plant identification. Corey and I were actually really starting to get into medicinal and wild foraging plants. Like we would pick one from a book we had and go out and try to find that. And we would do that every couple days. Not really versed too well in Tennessee yet, but I know Carrie's been out, and I think he has mentioned some roses. I know blackberries and raspberries, blueberries, American beauty berries. I don't know much about roses, but man, if the thorns that we went into, I have to. I believe we saw, Corey, you saw a little rose like ish flowers there last summer, didn't you? What? Out at Tim's, some flowers that looked like roses, wild roses. Yeah, I think there is. Mike Sohmstead says yes. Yes. Okay, there we go. Somebody that was at the property that knows what he's talking about. So we stopped at Off-Grid Ping at Jamie's. Okay, yeah, Wires Edge says you can't miss it. It's hellish stuff to deal with. Yeah, that's probably some of the stuff I was hacking through. There were at least 3 different types of things that were cutting my arms up. One was bright green this time of year. Yeah, so this weekend was bright green. One was a purplish, and then the other one was kind of dead still and or dormant still, and really couldn't tell the color of it. But we had some purple, we had some like neon green. The neon green ones were the sharpest ones of any of them. They'll like slice you like a razor for sure. We went down to Jamie's. He had his boys with him, and we were doing some. Jen asked if I remembered gloves this time. I did remember gloves this time. It was fantastic. It was fantastic. The last 2 times in a row, I've remembered gloves. At Jamie's, his boys were there. We stopped and we were doing some bartering for some eggs. And so we hung out with his boys. We talked to Jamie. And then Corey always wants to see all the animals at Jamie's because he's got all the farm animals like we had. He's got chickens and guineas and rabbits. And Bruno, his little dog. Corey loves seeing Bruno. And so we hung out. Corey's like watching the chickens. We walk over and check out his meat bird pen because he finally put all his meat birds in freezer camp. We went and checked out his greenhouse that he's got going on and his project he did with his water mitigation around his greenhouse, which is doing great. If you guys want to check out all this stuff, you can check out Off-Grid Ping, P-I-N-G, like the golf club, on YouTube, TikTok, all the places. He's got a channel that he's doing some awesome videos for sure. About his little off-grid homestead that he's building from scratch, basically milling all the wood for his cabins and all that. But we were checking out all his projects, all his foraging he'd done. He'd transplanted some thistles and plantain, and he had a little swale system going on. And I was just getting acquainted with everything he had worked on since the last time I'd been there. We checked out the comfrey that we planted out at Jamie's. The Jen G rocks. Or Jen G says Corey rocks. I'll say it again. Your wife is a good girl. Most of the people here definitely like my wife better than me. They usually hang out just to hear stuff about her. So you're not the only one. So we were checking out the comfrey. The video I did about the whole plant, the 1 to 2 year plant that we now have for sale on the lotsproject.com, was done at Jamie's. We installed that out at his place. We bartered a bunch of comfrey for firewood for the winter that he left us. And so I checked out the comfrey. Comfrey's coming in awesome. I didn't get any video of it, but basically the crowns are already 2 inches tall. The leaves on the crowns are already 2 inches. It's been a couple weeks. And he had some issues where his chickens like totally mowed them to the ground before he could get some fencing around them. And he also kept them under a plastic pot. So no sunlight. For 3 or 4 days, and then he got the fence around him, and bam, they just popped up like crazy. So that was cool to see. Corey wandered over, and she was looking at his bunnies, at his rabbits. He's got a buck and 3 does in a really cool cage setup where you have your normal rabbit hutches, and then he's got a tunnel down to a big open enclosed area that they can go in and hide and nest and things like that. And so we were checking out the bunnies, and he's like, yeah, we've had him with the buck off and on and this and that. And I was like, oh, so this back part, which used to be his chicken hospital for his sick chickens, until he realized that sick chickens are more work than they're worth, and you just call them and get new chickens. So he transferred his chicken hospital into the rabbit, an extra rabbit housing. And so I said, hey, how do you open that thing up? Like, how do you look into it? And he's like, oh, it opens on the side here. And so we go over and start looking at it. And he opens it up, and I kind of peek in, and Corey's like peeking in because a couple of the bunnies were hanging out in there. And Corey's looking in there, and Jamie, and they're like, oh, there's a bunch of fur back there. Maybe they're getting ready to have babies. Maybe he's getting ready to have babies. Couldn't really see it. There was another door right by the fur, and so he gets the stuff out of the way. He opens the other door, and there's a big old pile of fur there. And we're standing there talking. Jamie and I are talking, and Corey's looking at the bunnies like, she does, and pretty infatuated with the animals, would rather just look at the animals than talk to anybody. Which, I mean, it is what it is. She was talking to the animals too, I'm sure. So all of a sudden she's like, that fur pile's moving. Now, Corey raised rabbits. We raised rabbits for a couple of years. And she's dealt with plenty of rabbit litters. She looks at that and she says, yeah, there's bunnies in there. You got bunnies in there. That fur's moving. And sure as shit, move the fur. Bunch of little jumping beans popping around in there. Probably 2 days. She was thinking 2 days old, maybe 3 days old. Mama had gone behind all the nesting boxes, found a really secure place, pulled her fur, had her litter. We took off. We let Jamie get to it, and he was going to clean out the nest, get all the wet stuff out of there, rebuild the nest. And it looked like he ended up with, what'd you say, five new buns. 5 new buns. Little black, white with black spot jumping beans. They were popping around, having fun. Wired says talking to animals instead of people sounds reasonable. Yeah, for sure. Gen G, if you want to search up off-grid ping in YouTube, you can catch shorts. Jamie posted some shorts of his jumping bunnies, and I'm sure that he will be posting more as he gets them, or we can put a request in to get more bunny pictures in the Telegram group, because Jamie's over in the Telegram group too. So that was cool. Corey got to see some buns, and I didn't even have to pull down my pants for her to see some buns. Get it? Boof. That didn't come out as well as I was in my head, but that's normally the case. Let's see. So that was Jamie's off-grid off-grid ping, I believe is how it goes. Put it in the comments there. Anyway, that was Saturday. Sunday, wrap up quick here. Sunday, we got a lot of work done. I had to get some videos done. We're trying to get Norman mended up with his feet. They're kind of sore. We started soaking them some more in Epsom salts. We're going to see how that goes. I think it definitely feels better because he didn't struggle this time to get him into the tote to stand in the Epsom salt water to soak his feet a little bit. So I think that feels good for him, and we'll continue to do that. He's on kind of restricted walks. He only goes halfway, and then Dad and him stop and rest while Norman and Walter and Corey go on the rest of the walk and then meet us on the way back. So that has been pretty the MO with Morning John Palmer. That's been Norman, and I've been having short walks. On the way back from our morning walk yesterday, Corey starts running her mouth about onions. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So when we walk down the road, we try to walk next to each other, side by side, but we're 5 wide at that point. We're on a little country road. There's no sidewalks or anything. And it's the constant, every time a car comes, I have to slow down with Norman and move in behind. And so we're completely off the road in the ditch. And so I was walking behind her, and she starts talking about finding onions. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I don't necessarily hear the best. And Corey says that not only don't I hear the best, I don't listen either. It may be a combination of both. I'm not sure. But she was talking on and on about onions. And she found onions. I'm like, what are you talking about finding onions? So all of a sudden on the side of the road, she stops and she reaches down and she's like, here, smell this. Sure as shit, my wife found onions. She found yard onions. She says, I was standing in the yard waiting for Clyde to take a leak or something one morning, and she looked down and she recognized onions, scallions, just the onion greens coming up. And so she reached down. She's like, "That looks really familiar," and I'm impressed. I'm impressed at this point. But she's usually taking the dogs out at like first light, where it's nice. It's that light where you can kind of see the different shades of greens. I don't do shades well, so that might be why I don't spot them very well. Rewilder Life says ramps or onions. Yeah, so she saw them and determined by breaking them off and smelling them in our yard that they were onions. So she's telling me about this. We start looking. They are all the way down the roads, both sides, and our yard. We were walking and I was just like, onions. Corey's like, onions, onions. I'm like, onions. So we definitely have yard onions. And they might be. Good morning, Nicole. How we doing? Living free in Tennessee. Thanks for hopping in. Hanging laundry. Thanks for swinging over and subbing to Jamie's channel there. He definitely has some quality. Hey, look at that. Speak of the devil. Speak of the devil. Jamie, we were just talking about you. Just talking about your buns. We were talking about your buns. Living free in Tennessee. Nicole says wild onions come from the garlic family. Sweet. Will they get bigger, Nicole, or are we just looking at the greens? Because they're everywhere. They are absolutely everywhere here. But yeah, they're different than ramps. All right. I really need to dive in now that we've decided that we're hanging out here for the foreseeable future. We're not making any moving plans as of yet, any significant moving plans as of yet. I should really dive harder into the Tennessee flora, fauna, trees. I need to learn all this stuff again. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Thanks for that information drop today. I appreciate that. I need to get on Carrie Brown's nature walk, but I don't know if I can do the 3 days up to I don't know if I can make 3 days up to SRF to do the Monday. I'm hoping to. But we're working on something at Delinquent's Gully about the same thing, foraging and wild edible and plant identification walks too. Onions don't get much bigger, but you can eat the bullets. You can eat the bullets too. They make great cream of wild onion soup. Nice. Rewilder Life says they call them wild leeks there. And Jamie's talking about his buns, talking about the buns are so cute. Yeah. Okay. Jamie had somebody tell him that the mini onions, the wild onions, somebody told them that they are known as crow's garlic. And yeah, I nibbled on some too. Jamie. They are great. And it sounds like Rewilder Life dries them for winter. Nicole says bulbets, not bullets. I like bullets better. I don't mind eating bullets, so as long as they taste good. Oh, so that's about it for the weekend. I got a bunch of videos to do today, getting caught up with product videos. Guys, I got stacks of stuff to do reviews around here. They just keep rolling in the mail faster than I can make videos, which is really cool. And a lot of it, or I mean, the majority of it is stuff that I can definitely use. It's in my wheelhouse for stuff that I know, except for this thing. I'll have to show you this. So this is a pen that I got. Now, you would think, well, everybody can use a pen. And that's what I thought when I was looking at it on the Creator Connections page and deciding if I wanted to request a sample or not. I thought it was a pen. I thought it was like a really nice high-end pen that writes really nice, or, that is nicer than a Bic. Come to find out, I didn't read the listing very well, and yeah, it's a V pen. It's a V pen. What is a V pen? It's an electromagnetic pen that you can use on your tablets and things, which I don't have. Luckily, I am able to use it on my phone, so I'm able to actually do some actual testing, because I'm really very careful about doing videos on shit that I don't have, that I don't use, that I've never touched, that I can't tell you. Yeah. So I grabbed that thing, and as soon as it came in the mail, I'm like, oh crap, whoopsie. And started researching really fast and was able to make it work on my phone. So that made me feel good. Other than that, guys, I got just a ton of stuff that, looking around here that's fantastic and really good items that I think if they pan out would be good recommended products. So excited to do that. Chris Dixon right here says, almost like Mother Nature knows we'll be out of food this time of year and just starts blasting things up and giving us things that taste fantastic, that remind us of all the bounty that will come. Nicole says she hasn't found any oyster mushrooms this year yet, and that's frustrating. I found some mushrooms on a log out at Tim's this weekend. I took a picture and sent them to Carrie, and he said they are either turkey tails or false turkey tails. And I was like, well, if they're false turkey tails, does that mean Brian doesn't stand up anymore after he eats them? Or yeah, I'm just gonna leave them on that log. They were super cool to look like. They were definitely really cool to look at, and they were all down the side of this enormous log. So that was pretty fun. Definitely need to learn more about mushrooms before I start putting them in my mouth. Yeah, we're two after 7. We'll probably wrap up here and get moving on. Old scrambling over on Food Forest Farms Food Forest Farms YouTube channel, getting ready to fire up over for his show from 7 to 8 Central. Yeah, Nicole says, make it a great week, guys. I appreciate everybody listening and tuning in. If you excuse me. I appreciate you listening. If you enjoyed the show, it's always free to hit that like, share, and subscribe. To return value for value, please consider joining one of the YouTube membership tiers or listening on any value for value platform like Podverse or Fountain.fm. Be sure to check the show out over on Noster as I hopefully get my Zapper fixed and we can roll over there. We can move that TikTok live over to Noster and may be able to make it more than 20 minutes possibly. Other than that, you can visit thelotsproject.com to find more information and find all my links, partner companies, discount codes, working on that a little bit this weekend. And so you got to check that out over at thelotsproject.com. Other than that, make it an awesome Monday, guys. Get the week started right and circle back, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow morning.